Join me to celebrate my birthday in Tassie. On this trip, my goal is to see the Southern Lights, to not get sick on the ferry to Mona, and of course, to celebrate my birthday. So we are in Tassie and we just got a rental car. We should go charge first. We found a charger, but so actually the time remaining is ages. 2.5 hours. We might get there on 4% battery. So let's see if we make it. The road on the way was pretty bumpy and had some potholes, and it was so beautiful and serene. Unfortunately, I got pretty sick on the way though, and was in need of some rest. So we checked in and I slept for 3 hours. The staff here was so kind and they got me takeaway for dinner. And I was so happy to see that there was soup and loved how genius the packaging was. With my tummy full, I rested for the night. Everything's frosted over. This place is stunning and I don't think I've ever been anywhere so quiet. So my boyfriend just asked me if he farted, if it would echo here. I 100% think it would because it's so quiet. Anyway, I farted. Pumphouse Point is one of those places where you slow down, relax, and reconnect with yourself and also nature. It's fun because you can also connect with other people as well at the communal meals. After breakfast, we decided to explore this unique hotel. Pumphouse sits on the deepest lake in Australia, Lake St Clair, and it used to be a hydroelectric station, and it has enormous turbines at the bottom of this building to power the hydropower station. This also means the water pressure in the shower is damn good. The bridge that leads to the pump house is called the Flume, and it sits on top of a pipe that carries all of the water to the lagoon. But unfortunately the pump house was decommissioned years ago, but turned into a hotel. There are 2 common rooms in the pump house that have an assortment of games and also paints as well. There's also fruit available and a bar that runs on an honour system. But the best part, a glass door that opens to the back of the pump house. Oh wow, that's cool, thank you. That is really cool. Now let's head up to the room. Going up an elevator. But it's so scary. One of my favourite things about staying here was the fresh bread that you can order to your room. Oh, it's so warm and it's so crunchy. Oh my god. How do I do this without getting crumbs everywhere? Full on bread and snacks, I fell asleep for the afternoon and woke up for dinner. We are about to do a bit of a walk around and then go for dinner. But the view is so beautiful. I can't wait to see this when it lights up at night. Oh, the lights turned on! And we are going to be eating here. And this is a shore house where we have our breakfast and dinner, all of which is comped in our stay. And I forgot to mention, there's also a free cocktail every day. But if you're left wanting a little bit more, you can also use the honour system at the restaurant area to grab a couple of drinks. Continuing the carb fest, the staff bring out loaves of bread for you, followed by soup and a different main each night. And there's also a decadent dessert at the end as well. The way that Pump House lights up at night looks like a ghost mansion, but it also helps people get back without falling in the lake. And we were out late that night, aurora hunting. So we're just starting to see the beginnings of the aurora, and it looks incredible. On camera, of course. With the naked eye, can't really see anything. And with the aurora checked off, we completed the first goal of our trip. Today is my birthday, and I also hit 500 subs, thanks to all of you. So we're checking out today, so we won't be staying for much longer. But this was a really, really lovely stay. We're heading off to our next destination now, which is Freycinet Lodge, around 3 hours away from Pumphouse. So we just arrived at Freycinet Lodge and I'm starving. We drove for 3.5 hours basically to get here. I want food and I want to pee. Oh, this is the shower. Cool. This is the toilet. Cannot wait to use that bath. I cannot wait. So we just got to Freycinet and this place is incredible. So there's a bedroom here. It's got this stunning view. It's Richardson's Beach. This bathroom again has an incredible view over the beach. Everything in here is actually hidden. And then over here we have the living area. Again, it's got a gorgeous view as well. And pretty cool couch, I have to admit. Everything's oddly shaped here, but I think it's all part of the design. Shall we head outside? We've got a bathtub, which I'm definitely using later. There are these chairs. Oh, you can actually sit in these. Oh my god, I hope it supports my weight. I might sit over here. I'm a little bit scared, to be honest. I think this might be one of the coolest rooms I've ever stayed at. Okay, there's so many hidden compartments here. I just found a new one. This is also a cupboard. I don't have a chill life, so on my birthday, I wanted to do something really relaxing. Oh my god, the course ramp that's required of that. It took some effort, but it was finally ready. And for the rest of the night, I chilled in the bathtub and played chess. Oh my god. The next morning started with a broken slipper and some creativity, and breakfast with some views. It's exactly what we needed because today we're going to Wineglass Bay Lookout. You need a special pass to park in the National Park in Tassie, and this helps to maintain the parks, which is really important for all of the wildlife living there. And the wildlife is everywhere. If you're in Freycinet, Wineglass Bay Lookout is one of the easiest walks you can do, being only 1.5 hours long and 3 k's. On the way up, you also get some incredible views of Coles Bay and Mount Amos and Isthmus on either side. Because you're going up some pretty steep hills, it does get warm pretty quickly. Yeah, these thermals need to be swapped out. I am sweating like a piggy. Wow. Okay. This is so pretty. Every single time I look out, I'm like, wow. You should try and take your time going up because the way back down is another path. Once you think you're getting close, actually, there are a ton more stairs. And when you get to this chair, that's when you're almost at the top. When you get up to the top, it is insanely quiet, with some incredible views over Wineglass Bay. Wow, 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 wow. The way back down is through the bushlands rather than by the cliff face, but it is still stunning. After this, we went to Freycinet Marine Farm for oysters, which was the beginning of my downfall. Oysters, oysters. Fortunately, unfortunately, one of the cool things about this place is that there are so many different types of oysters. And if you don't like oysters, there are also other seafood dishes as well. I wanted to order 36 oysters, but my boyfriend talked me down to 24, which was a great idea. The oysters here are super fresh, and you can tell straight away because of how clean they taste. We tried the natural, the namjin, cucumber, and onion oysters. The seafood chowder was also really good because it was stacked with seafood and really filling, especially after a walk. There's also a cute doggy that comes around to say hi to you.
Hi, puppy. Hi. Hi, puppy.
However, if you're looking for some more scenic views with your oysters and perhaps a bit of wine as well, you can head to Devil's Corner, which also has the same oyster menu, along with a chocolate and wine tasting. These chocolates are one of a kind that you can only get when you go to Devil's Corner in Tasmania. I'm ashamed to admit that I had more oysters that night for dinner, bringing my total of oysters up to 26. Coming from a family where my dad eats 60 oysters in one sitting, I didn't think it was a lot, but I fell sick pretty quickly overnight. Today we're driving to Hobart for a bit of city life, and I have something to admit. I ate too many oysters yesterday, so I'm having the worst stomach cramps. I'm not even sure if I'll put this in the video. I've gotten sick twice already, which does not bode well for the ferry to Mona. So we did have 2 wins so far. We saw an aurora, we celebrated my birthday, and hopefully I will not get sick on the ferry to Mona. Fingers crossed. It was a beautiful 2.5 hours driving into Hobart, but by the end of it I was so exhausted. I tried to do a room review for you guys, but I was too dead. I'm very tired and still sick, so I'm gonna go sleep. Good night. But I did try to go to dinner later that night. This place was the coolest dining experience that we had in Tassie. Omotenashi was inside a Lexus dealership and literally surrounded by cars. Even the coat room was literally the trunk of a car. This is the coat room. While the chefs are getting ready, you can go down to the lounge, which is at the front of the dealership, to rest and mingle with other guests. A pre-dinner tea is served while some of the house rules are explained. And then the fun part is that you can sit in and try any of the cars. It's funny because some of the cars are so futuristic and different these days that even getting out of a car can be really different depending on the brand. I actually don't know how to get out of the car. While Omotenashi is $300 per person, it includes all drinks, including alcoholic, and I wasn't about to miss out on this experience. The food here is super fresh, think just caught from the sea this morning, and the chefs do an incredible job bringing out the natural flavours of each dish. Something that you don't get in the rest of Australia are the Angus oysters, but they're local to Tassie and such a meaty sort of oyster. And while this isn't traditional Japanese omakase in a sense, there are a lot of Tasmanian influences in the flavours of the dishes throughout. My mom always told me not to play with my food, but she wasn't here that night. And this house-made mochi was so stretchy. I was, however, fading throughout the night and got a bit greedy towards the end because I could not really eat that much of the rice. But for some reason, even when I have stomach pains, I seem to have a second stomach for dessert. There's art in everything Lockie and Sophie does, and that even comes down to wrapping up and giving people a copy of the menu. Unfortunately, I was in quite a bit of pain at the end of the night, so I just had a bath and went to sleep. So yesterday night I woke up at 3 or 4 a.m. and I just felt really sick, like bad stomach pains. So I ended up taking some meds, then going back to sleep, and then woke up drenched in my sweat. Like, I feel a lot better this morning, but I'm hoping that I'll be okay for Mona today. But on the plus side, the markets are like literally right outside our hotels. We didn't spend too much time at the markets, but there was just so much to see. There were over 300 stores selling all local produce, and I really just wanted to find a scallop pie. We didn't have much time though, because we were catching a ferry in about an hour. There's a lot of fresh truffle in Tassie, which meant truffle ice cream. I wasn't feeling game enough to try this with my stomach, but we did see the scallop pies right next to it. Meat pies in Australia are a classic dish, and Tasmania's answer to this are scallop pies. The bougie and cooler version of meat pies. The pie was deliciously warm with a bit of curry powder, and we were serenaded by some bagpipes as we ate. After that, we headed to the wharf, checking out some starfish at the bottom of the sea before going to Brook Street Pier for our ferry ride. We may have wanted posh pit tickets for the ferry booth because I hoped it would distract me from getting sick. I also ordered some ginger ale as well, just for good measure, but skipped the food just in case I got sick. This whole ferry ride actually ended up surprising me so much because I didn't get sick at all. I did, however, get very distracted about trying not to be sick so much that I forgot to record, and the first thing that you're going to see at Mona now is a butthole. Actually looks like an anus. There are also other really pretty installations outside though, and some really cool ones as well, like this trampoline that has bells on it. Speaking of butt though, one of the most googled questions about Mona is if the poo machine is still at Mona. And unfortunately the answer is no. That piece has been moved on, but there are still some other really cool pieces here. When you get in, you can see the gift shop, but you head all the way down the stairs. We went a bit rogue though, and forgot to go all the way down the stairs. So we ended up here. Iconic. One of my tips about Mona is to actually go there for the whole day, because once you get there, there are different things you can book and afternoon shows. There's a blend of modern and ancient art throughout the whole museum. And there are some pieces that are really stunning and visually beautiful, and then others that will make you regret ever stepping foot inside Mona. There are also some really cool interactive experiences that are not for clumsy people. I almost touched the top of this oil with my white jumper. But see how this guy's doing it? Very demure, very mindful. I'm not sure if this room was my favourite because I'm lazy or because I was sick, but this was so relaxing to just lie here and stare at the roof. There were areas with really loud sound and also areas where it was deadly silent, where we were expected to confess our sins. But I'm not really sure what to confess. I farted under the sheets last night. I worked up a bit of an appetite off all that confessing, so we headed over to Faro Restaurant, which had some amazing views over the river. Faro's dishes had some really creative names, along with some even more creative performances. I've been unemployed for a while now, but I was really tempted to apply for her role. That's what I want to do. Inside Faro, there are also some extra interactive art pieces as well, which we couldn't film, but it was a flashing light experience. And then we decided to go back and get some rest. It was an uneventful ferry back with drinks and desserts. So I managed to make it off the ferry, no vomiting, no getting sick. So that's 3 out of 3. The Aurora, celebrate my birthday, and not get sick on the ferry. I am really happy that we made it through this trip, and we also had a lot of fun. Now it's time for me to rest. So we slept for about 4 hours after the day, and we're going to head off to Mary Mary. I'm actually feeling much better, and I'm very excited to have a bit of the Hobart nightlife before I go. Although I set off wanting to achieve 3 goals during this trip, I realised that I had gained so much more. This trip wasn't without its challenges, especially for my partner, and we were still figuring out how the other would treat us during difficult times, because these times can make or break a relationship. I've recently learned that how someone treats you at the beginning of a relationship is really important, even if the actions seem pretty small. And it's worthwhile holding on to those who can treat you well through thick and thin. Now it's time to take this chaos back to Sydney. No, you don't film this.
Chaos.
Goodbye, Tasmania. If you'd like to support me, please hit like or subscribe to my channel. I loved my time in Tassie and I can't wait to be back. If you want to see more incredible views, you can watch my New Zealand vlog here.